Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
We're back.
We are. And so you can see this headline, and I don't think this is going to be too much of a surprise to you guys. The UN Food Agency is saying we're going to see famines of biblical proportions in 2021.
Yeah, I don't like the looks of that.
No, or these statues. Those look so sad, I wonder if that's the Irish potato famine, perhaps, that they're representing. So, we've seen this coming. There's so many things going on. There's so many different aspects of this. One of the things that Cindy was picking up on was that really these earth changes that we're seeing, they wouldn't really be so bad if things were left to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they weren't enhanced.
Yeah, putting it lightly there. So, we obviously have the earth changes. We have the floods, we have the storms, the record storms, and, all that is adding up. Crop loss there. We even forget about the whole China trade war thing that was going on with President Trump. And then, of course, now, we've had the lockdown situation, and it seems like we're heading into a bigger lockdown, maybe a bigger lockdown than we've seen before in some places. And all these things are adding to a financial collapse. And, it's all piling up.
It is, and it's like one of those things where, something has to happen. It's like a baby being born. It's going to happen. It's just kind of when.
So as it says here, the economies are continuing to deteriorate, particularly in low and middle income countries, and there's another wave of lockdowns and shutdowns. The money that was available in 2020 isn't going to be available in 2021. Thus, the crises are really going to be extraordinary over the next, 12 to 18 months. That date of 2025, which we've talked about, by the way, there's going to be a video that's going to have to go only on BitChute and Brightian because it's too touchy. And so I'll be putting that up there probably in the next couple hours, talking about all this and talking about forecasts, if you guys get what I mean. Right now, they say about 135 million people face crisis levels of hunger or worse. The health crisis will probably push an additional 130 million people to the brink of starvation by the end of 2020, so about 270 million people. About 20 countries are likely to face potential spikes in high acute food insecurity in the next 3 to 6 months and require urgent attention, and any further deterioration in coming months could lead to a risk of famine. Meanwhile, in the USA, some Americans are waiting in line for up to 12 hours at food distribution events to have enough food on their plates for the coming weeks and holidays.
Yeah, this is a tough one, really.
It's a perfect storm. And, I don't think there's any real reason for this. There really isn't. As far as something that we could not overcome and something that, if humanity had the right type of leadership, as we were saying, there's a 85-year-old gentleman in Nebraska that's able to grow tons of citrus year-round. If he could do it, just one 85-year-old gentleman with a greenhouse in Nebraska, and he grows enough food to basically feed almost a little town there. What could governments do if they really, really wanted to?
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
And we were joking about this yesterday when we were talking about movies like Soylent Green, and then look what pops up here. Yeah, this is a do-it-yourself meal kit for growing steak made from human cells. It's been nominated for Design of the Year award. I wouldn't eat it.
Ew.
We don't really eat meat anyway, but
no,
there's no way in the world that it couldn't do it.
No, I don't know what adverse effects would it have on you. Is that like cannibalism then?
Yeah, I was avoiding that word.
Sorry.
So, because that's gotten things censored before. But yeah, they say it isn't. Scientists say it isn't, but it sure does feel like it. As you see, there's that word. Yeah, growing it in a petri dish from human cells, they could keep it.
Yeah, they can keep it.
So this is interesting because I asked Cindy to give us her impression on this. They call it Steve. It's a phenomenon that they say is not like aurora. And also because of where, unlike the infamous southern and northern lights, Steve appears as purplish white ribbon of light that slashes diagonally towards the horizon, stretching for hundreds of miles through the atmosphere. It can appear closer to the equator than a typical aurora, and is often accompanied by a picket fence of jagged green points dancing beside it. Nobody knows what causes Steve, but scientists agree it's no mere aurora. Auroras appear when charged particles from the sun sail across space and crackle along the Earth's magnetic field lines. Steve, however, is a river of hot, turbulent gases that show up independent of that of solar weather. So they say it may be the result of some native process in the ionosphere, which is, way up there above Earth's surface, just below the planet's magnetic field. Is it related to the magnetic field? Is it related to the decline of the magnetic field? Well, I asked Cindy her impressions of this.
And this is really funny because I didn't know they had already named it Steve, but this is an entity or entities, and it's coming down to make contact with beings of a similar vibration to give them downloads so they can continue on to do what they need to do to steer things in a positive direction for Earth.
Well, that's good. Then we'll welcome Steve.
Yes.
And yes, we have yet another very bright fireball. And look at that. And this one, again, moving very unusually slow. And this was over Central Europe. They saw it in Germany as well as other places. 34 reports from Germany, Australia, and northern Italy. Pretty spectacular, isn't it? This is the area that they've seen and heading in that direction.
These things are just beautiful.
Now, you said this had an Arcturian vibe.
It felt Arcturian controlled.
Arcturian controlled. Interesting stuff. Actually, absolutely beautiful and spectacular. And so, this is not beautiful. We have a destructive EF3 tornado, severe hailstorm that leaves 6 people dead in South Africa. And there's videos here to see the damage. It's incredible. Now, the hail, large hail, can be very damaging, obviously. Very, very destructive, again, when we have these events with the clashes between the two fronts that are getting to be more and more extreme.
Yeah, this is one of those things that feels a little enhanced.
Yeah, it's interesting how certain areas get hit, and I didn't see an update, but we had talked before about how 50% of the banana crop was hit, and then 15 miles apart, you get another Cat 4 landing 2 weeks later. Yeah, just coincidence.
Just coincidence.
As you see, these schoolrooms destroyed. And so, it's just piling on, guys. It's piling on so big.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And, this says it all. Weaponized weather. Halts power plant in Vladivostok, Russia. And, this is obviously, it gets really dangerous when it's icy like that. And weighing down the branches, taking out power lines. And it's interesting, the terms that they're using, the weaponized storm, cyclone, wreaked havoc across the region. Any way you look at it, people are waking up. I mean, look what happened to this car.
I know. That's sad. Goodness.
Yes, I remember days like this when you just could barely get the car door open. Oh, that's miserable. And we have an earthquake swarm with magnitudes up to 6.0 near King George Island, Antarctica. Is it really earthquakes, or is there something going on underneath the surface?
Yeah, I'm not feeling earthquakes. I'm just not.
Yeah, 4.7 to 6.0. There's been dozens of them. Actually, they registered 40 earthquakes in the area, and the biggest was a 6.0. Something going on over there, perhaps? The only people that are there are researchers, and there are researchers from numerous different countries there. Yeah, you got to wonder You always got to wonder. So we got 4 new active volcanoes going right now, and we had 14 ongoing. 2 of them are over in Russia, by the way, and then we had Indonesia and also White Island, which is New Zealand. Those are all the newer active volcanoes, and we'll see more and more of those coming online. The Schumann right now is actually relatively calm. It's been relatively calm for a while, unusual.
Yeah, I think that's very unusual.
Maybe it's, it feels like we are all on a slow build. Don't you feel it right now? Like things are building.
Mm-hmm.
There's like slow rising of pressure, kind of, but very slow. And you'll see if things come to a head maybe around the 30th with the eclipse.
It kind of feels like a pause or an inhale and then a pause, and yeah.
It does. It does. And so this is concerning, and you got 500 people, over 500 people caught some sort of unknown disease in Senegal. Fishermen, and they have pimples on their face, headaches, high temperature, dry lips, red eyes, and they're trying to figure out what it is, what it came from.
It's chemical.
She feels it's chemical, and maybe some sort of corporate discharge, often in the fishing areas.
Yeah, or, they could be trying to hurt this particular area as well. It could be a mix of the two things, but one thing that definitely came through is chemical.
Impact the food situation, because if these are fishermen and they're relying on the fish, and if there's been something released that maybe is toxic.
Right, then they can't take care of themselves. They have to be dependent.
There you go.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Arecibo. Yes, the alien hunting telescope has damage that they are not going to fix, and this is in Puerto Rico. And I was by there once. Beautiful area, very, very lush and thick. And this is a famous telescope. I'm kind of surprised that they're not going to. This was built in 1963. It was the world's largest radio telescope for decades. And yes, they're putting it to rest. Mm-hmm. And we have a hero that we're going to end on here, and it's this pup. So this dog saved residents as a fire tears through a hospice, but it did suffer terrible burns. So Matilda, the dog, passed out due to carbon monoxide inhalation after she rushed into a burning building in St. Petersburg, Russia. But the vets say she's going to survive, and she raised the alarm after the blaze took hold of this shelter, running into buildings to get residents' attention. And eventually she passed out, but she was saved.
That is just so extremely incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing the hearts of some of our animals. We see it with Zeke and Sassy. They're just to us, they're humans. They're part of our family.
Yeah, there's way more awareness in there than we give them credit for, I feel.
Most definitely. Well, if you look at the Vedic point of view, it's the evolution of the soul. And, they actually view that, say, a dog like Matilda might come back in her next life as a human.
I believe it, yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell, just in case. A lot of people are always finding that they're unsubscribed and they're not getting notifications, because if you don't click the all notification, you tend to not get any if you're of a certain ilk of channel.
Yes, please do that. And we want to say an extra huge thank you to our Patreon people and everyone who gives a thumbs up. Just really all the support out there is truly appreciated.
As always, guys, stay prepared. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.